And now, the best 60-ish seconds of your week.
This week, a march on the National Mall drew almost 400,000 Americans in support of Israel and the war against the Hamas terrorists who attacked Israel on October 7th. That 400,000 people. And do you think the Washington Post could see fit to put it on the front page? That seems to be pretty big news when you have a couple hundred here or there protesting the other way. But no, it gets into the B section. Just another evidence of what the media is doing today. And while Joe Biden goes to San Francisco and Gavin Newsom decides to clean up the streets for the arrival of President Xi from China, telling the American people that it's basically like putting your socks into the hamper. I mean, this is the language of the left, putting your socks into the hamper, i.e. taking homeless people and putting them into shelters. But while Biden goes to San Francisco, Biden bucks go to Iran. And this is at the heart of the problem here. With all the rhetoric coming out of the administration, which is good. I mean, they've said we should stand foursquare with Israel against Hamas, against the Hamas terrorists. We continue to put money into the state sponsor of Hamas and the terrorism that has rocked not only the Middle East, but the world. And this is the sad record of the Biden administration. It always goes back to me, to the words of Robert Gates, who served with Joe Biden in the Obama administration and said that there wasn't a foreign policy issue that Joe Biden touched that he couldn't manage to screw up. And this is one we really cannot afford as a world, not only for moral reasons, but for political, economic, and military reasons as well. We cannot allow Hamas to continue, and Israel must be not only fully supported by us, but they have to win that vital battle. And very, very, very close to home this week, we saw the horrific anti-Semitism that has rocked our nation over the course of the past couple of weeks. We've proudly flown the Israel flag in the windows of our office here at Quantum Communications. And earlier this week, someone saw fit to place a swastika sticker right underneath the Israel flag. I really can't imagine too much more horrific than that. You think about the folks that say it can never happen again, and then you pause and wonder whether or not it really could. So the vile, disgusting things that we continue to see out on the streets of our great nation, and particularly on our college campuses, have to be pushed back against with all the might and soul of the American people and of good-thinking people everywhere. And in another little fight, there was a dust-up on the United States Senate committee floor this week when Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullin, a Native American who has an unusual first name, merging a couple of his forefathers' names, took on Sean O'Brien, the head of the Teamsters. O'Brien was, tough guy, and I think he said something about mob, bringing in the mob or something to that effect, but he basically challenged Senator Mullin. Senator Mullin stood up and said, how about right now? Now, Bernie Sanders is like, oh, no, you can't do that stuff. But I gotta tell you, I'd have put better than even money on Senator Mullin. If you saw the face of Sean O'Brien once Mullin stood up, a former mixed martial arts fighter, by the way, with an undefeated record, O'Brien's face went flush. It reminded me of that great scene from the movie A Bronx Tale, where he goes over and locks the door and says, now none of yous can leave. And the narrator says, I saw their faces go flush. All these tough guys all of a sudden had all the power drained out of them. That was Sean O'Brien in that very telling moment. There was no way in God's green earth that he wanted to take on Markwayne Mullin, who has offered to have an MMA fight with him in Oklahoma for the benefit of a charity. I'm betting it's not going to happen. And finally, this week we come to Thanksgiving Day, a day when we pause, as we should every day, to give thanks to God for all of the blessings of this life. And Thanksgiving, of course, in this country dates back to 1619. Not in Massachusetts, as many think, but probably in Virginia. But Massachusetts also lays claim as well to the first Thanksgiving when the Pilgrim Fathers there, the Puritans, celebrated with the Native Americans of that area a bountiful harvest, probably around 1621. But regardless, President Kennedy fused the two in a proclamation back in the early 1960s, and it is a national holiday, as it has been in various and sundry forms for many years, because there were always presidential proclamations declaring a certain Thursday in November as being Thanksgiving Day, but there was never official congressional action. But today we have that, and we all pause, not only for football and family, but most important, to take moments to give thanks to God. And one of my favorite hymns that they sing this time of year is, "Now thank we all our God, with hearts and hands and voices, who wondrous things has done, in whom his world rejoices, who from our mother's arms has blessed us on our way with countless gifts of love, and still is ours today." Be thankful. We have so many blessings to count. And for now, that certainly is the best 60-ish seconds of your week.